You were curled up on the couch, wrapped in your soft gray blanket like it could shield you from the heat. Inside, the room was dim, lit only by the fading sunlight seeping through the curtains. Your eyes were fixed on the floor, but your mind was far away, trapped in the echo of a voice you had not heard in a year. The silence pressed against your ears, and your chest ached with a familiar tightness. Today was supposed to be special, your birthday, but instead of balloons, laughter, and the warmth of a loved one's embrace, there was only silence, cold, empty. A tear escaped the corner of your eye, trailing down your cheek like a whisper from the past. Why did you leave me like that, Dimla? Your voice cracked, barely audible, but full of weight. The kind of sadness that comes from loving someone you can no longer touch. The room had been filled with laughter and golden fairy lights. You remembered how excited you felt, even if you tried to act all annoyed and moody in front of him. Jung had always known how to get to you through your stomach, your heart, and that ridiculous birthday crown he forced you to wear. He came in carrying the small chocolate cake that had your favorite toppings on it, strawberries, and a ridiculous amount of whipped cream. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear wine, happy birthday to you. You would roll your eyes but couldn't stop the smile turning at your lips. You sound like a dang opera singer, Tunga. And yet, I'm the only one who remembered your actual birth time. You leaned forward and blew the candles as he clapped, making a dramatic bow. You're so extra, and you will love it. Now, feed me or I'll sing again. You laughed and sliced the cake, holding up a piece to his mouth. Here, one bite, don't be greedy. You are lucky, I love you. You blinked at those words. She said them so casually, but something about the way he looked at you afterward made your heart skip a beat. You would wanted to say something then, you really did. But you didn't, and you regretted it every single day after. 1 year later, the cemetery was quiet, the kind of quiet that made your bones feel hollow. You stood in front of his grave, the stone cold and rolled beneath your trembling fingers. You clutched the bouquet of lilies against your chest, and your lips parted with a shaky breath. Why, Tionga, why did you leave me without saying goodbye? Your voice was small, broken. You looked at his name carved into stone, and it didn't feel real. You placed the flowers down gently, brushing away the dry leaves from the edge. You were all I had. I didn't even tell you how I felt, you idiot. You didn't let me. You chuckled weakly through your tears, resting your forehead against the cold marble. I hated the way you used to eat my fries without asking, but now I wish you would just walk in and steal them again just once. You curled your fingers tightly as if trying to hold on to the memory. He had been more than a friend. He was the one who stayed when your mom's words cut too deep. When the word grew too loud, when you couldn't breathe, he was your person, the one you secretly loved. You're supposed to stay. You promised to grow old with me, at least until I stopped crying at the movies. But promises you learned were fragile things, and he had been taken from you by a cruel accident, a single moment, and ripped him from your world and left you alone in it. You sniffled again, blinking back the floor of emotions. Your fingers trembled as you wiped away the tears clinging to your lashes. Why, God, why do you keep taking away the people I need the most? What's the point of loving someone if you always plan to take them away? You felt hollow, a feeling that had become your quiet companion. And then the sound of water stopped, the soft click of the bathroom door opening made your heart jolt. You turned your head, and there he was. A tall man stepped out, his dark hair wet and messy, still dripping from the shower. A single white towel was wrapped loosely around his waist, the droplets of water gliding down his sculpted torso. He ran her hand through his hair, shaking off the excess water. Your breath catch in your throat. He wasn't just anyone, he was him, the man who had somehow entered your life recently. Uninvited but not unwelcome. You're not sure what his presence meant yet, but at that moment he looked at you. His gaze lingered, not judging your tears, not even asking, just seeing you. You quickly looked away, wiping your cheeks and composing yourself like it was normal to have a breakdown while a half naked stranger. You sat frozen on the couch, tears barely dried on your cheeks as the steam from the bathroom curled into the room like ghosts of your shadow. Out walked Jungkook, towel slung low around his hips, hair wet and messy droplets of water gliding down his sculpted chest. Any other girl might have stared, any other girl might have blushed. But you just stared blankly because this wasn't some stranger, this was your husband. Your cool, distant, emotionally unavailable husband. Don Jungkook, the man who walked out of your bathroom like you're nothing more than an object occupying the same air. His eyes didn't even glance at you as he walked to the mirror, his expression indifferent like you didn't exist. He grabbed a towel and began drying his hair in silence. Practiced movements, not a single word, not even a look. The silence between you two was not new, it was routine now. It wrapped around the house like a thick fog, suffocating and constant. You didn't speak either, you just sat there watching him from the side of your eye as he dressed. He buttoned his shirt, fixed his collar, picked up his watch and phone, and left the room. Like always, not a glance, not a word, he was gone. That was your marriage, a formality, an arrangement born out of convenience, not choice. Your mother had arranged it, a deal between two old friends. He was the son of her college best friend, handsome, wealthy, perfect on paper, but Jungkook had made one thing clear from the start. He didn't want this marriage and he didn't want you. He never said it out loud, but he didn't need to. His actions screamed it every day. He never touched the meals you made, never asked you how your day was. He lived like a ghost, a cold presence in the same house, breathing the same air, but never really with you. You sailed long and deep. There was no use expecting more. So, like most nights, you lay back down on the couch and pulled the blanket over yourself. You stared at the ceiling, wondering when exactly this house started feeling like a stranger's guest room. You slowly drifted into a half sleep, empty, numb, exhausted until thing. A soft chime from your phone screen lit up the dark room. You blinked and reached for it groggily. Your brows froze. Calendar reminder 12 a.m. Happy birthday, wine. Your eyes softened and then clouded. You had completely forgotten today was your birthday. You gave a bitter laugh, short, dry, broken. What a joke. There was no celebration. No one even remembered. Your mother didn't call. Jungkook didn't even dance at you. You hadn't received a single message except from the past. Because the moment you saw those words, your mind immediately drifted to a memory, his voice. If something ever happens to me, Wine, you'll promise me one thing, okay? What? That you'll never stop celebrating your birthday. If I'm not there, I mean it. Promise me, please. You're so dramatic. I'm serious, your birthday is the day this messed up world got lucky to have someone like you. You'll celebrate it for me, yeah? Your smile trembled, you just tightened, you whispered into the darkness like he could still hear you. I remember, Tirunga, I remember. He pulled the blanket off your legs slowly, sat up, and reached for your coat. You didn't bother changing out of your plain clothes or fixing your hair. Your heart was too full of aching memories to care about appearances. Quietly, you slipped on your shoes and left the apartment. The night air was cold, crisp, almost poetic. You walked silently down the street, your arms wrapped around yourself until you reached the only bakery that stayed open late. The bell chimed as you entered, and the woman behind the counter gave you a tired but kind smile. Midnight cake run, huh? Special occasion? You nodded faintly. Yeah, it's my birthday. She smiled warmly and pointed toward a small chocolate cake with strawberries on top, just like Tim used to buy you. You purchased it quietly, thanked her, and made your way back home, holding the small box like it was something precious, something sacred. When you stepped inside your apartment again, the lights were off, the silence was deep. You stood in the doorway for a moment, breathing in the quiet. Then slowly you walked to the kitchen. You lit a single candle and whispered coldly, Happy birthday to me. The flame flickered gently like someone was listening from far away. You sat at the kitchen table in silence, the dim glow of the candle casting soft shadows on your face. It flickered gently atop the small chocolate cake, its strawberry topping already beginning to glisten under the warm light. The room was otherwise quiet, no music, no laughter, no company, just you and the memory of someone who once made this day feel magical. You stood at the candle, your heart swelling with emotions too complex to name, and then, with closed eyes and trembling lips, you whispered, I wish for peace, just peace, nothing else. With that, you leaned forward and blew out the candle. The smoke curled upward like a soul taking flight, and the room grew even quieter. It was possible you cut a small piece of cake, your finger delicate, most ceremonial. You took a bite, the sweetness flowed in your mouth, but it felt hollow. There was no joy, no celebration, just a ritual for a promise. He quietly placed the rest of the cake back into its box, walked to the fridge, and tucked it in gently. The refrigerator door clicked shut, but the ache in your chest didn't. Unable to sit any longer, you moved toward the sliding balcony door and stepped out. The night air brushed against your skin, cool and still. The moon above hung like a silent witness, watching over your sadness like a patient guardian. You sat down slowly on the small bench tucked in the corner of the balcony, pulling your knees up and hugging them tightly to your chest. The city lights shimmered far away, but everything around you felt distant, faded. Then, like a child lost in their own world, you began to speak. Why, God, why do you always take the people I love the most? You sniffled, wiping your tears with the back of your sleeve, your voice barely above a whisper but soaked with pain. Was it written in my fate to always be alone? A mom who only knows how to control a friend who cared you snatched him from me, and a husband. Her voice broke. A husband who looks at me like I'm a stranger, who can't even say my name without ice in his tone. You paused, pouring your face in your arms as the tears finally began to fall freely, splashing onto the fabric of your clothes. The word blurred, your body trembled as the weight you had been carrying all day, all year, came crashing down. I miss you, Tinga. I wish wherever you are smiling. You deserve happiness more than anyone. She looked up at the sky, voice still shaking but filled with love. I'll keep praying for you, even if love only brings me pain. I'll still pray for your peace, because true love, even when it hurts, never stops giving. There was silence again. You didn't know that behind the balcony door, just out of sight, someone had been standing quite still. Jungkook. He had woken up in the dark apartment when he noticed the faint sound of movement. Curiosity, or maybe something deeper, had pulled him toward the sound. He didn't mean to eavesdrop. He wasn't even sure what he expected to hear, but he had not expected that your voice. Raw, honest, shattering. He stood in the shadows just inside the living room, his jaw clenched, his fingers curled slightly at his sides, and for the first time since your marriage, his expression wasn't cold, it was unreadable, troubled.